I had a student that I just started working with recently, wants to add distance, but really isn't physically capable of doing speed training. He's got, he's had shoulder surgery, and his doctor, said, hey, we don't want to be, going too much after it. So to add distance without being able to do speed training, and if you're not familiar with what speed training is, it's what we do in our 20-minute distance fix. It's actually the most effective way to add distance. But if you're not physically capable of, being able to get a bigger shoulder turn, or doing some of the things that we talk about in there, swinging with 100% effort, it may not be the best thing for you. But it is if you can go out there, because I think most people who play golf are in reasonably pretty good shape, and can go out there and do those things. And it's really the best way to work on your speed training. So if you are in that category and you want to gain some distance, the best way to do it is to do with some speed training. And that's in our 20-minute distance fix course. Highly, highly recommend it. We've had lots and lots of people go through it. And generally, people are gaining 12, 13 miles per hour. And that equates to about 30 plus yards of a distance. So, and this is just in like a 3-week time frame. So it's 3 sessions a week. We do 2 on the range and 1 at home. That 1 at home you can also do at the range if you want to. You can. We just give you a home one because I think a lot of people want to do home training. But then that's 3 sessions, and then we have 3 weeks. That is what the course is, and then there's some great content in there that you'll want to that you want to watch to get all the drills. And I'm telling you, that's the best way to get distance. But fortunately, I wanted to do that with this new student that I had, but fortunately, his doctor's like, hey, I don't think that's a good idea. Better not be doing that. So what can he do to get some distance? So the main thing is for if you're in that situation is to really make sure that you're hitting the ball in the center of the face. That's one of the most important things, is to really make really, really solid contact with the golf ball, because with that speed, you want to be able to transfer that energy that you're providing with the club to the golf ball. And the way to do that is to hit it in the center of the face. So there's a couple things that are really, really important for that. Number one is what we call the stable fluid spine from the Top Speed Golf system. So in that, what we're talking about is we want you to be nice and angled away with your spine at address, roughly in that 6 to 8 degree range. And when we get up to the top of the swing, we want to see the overall angle of your body to be about the same as you go up to the top. So the way I like to look at this in students is I'll take a couple lines, and I'll put it right outside their torso, just like this. I'll use an app like V1 Golf, which you can get free from either Apple or Google Store. But I draw a line right outside their torso here. And what I'll do is I'll watch their body and how it reacts to those lines at address and as they go up to the top of the swing. What I like to see is them stay within those lines, and also their overall angle of their torso to stay parallel to those lines as they go up to the top of the swing. Now you can move a little bit into the trail side of those lines. I often see that. That's completely fine. But what we don't want to see is moving like this, and we don't want to see kind of sliding forward as we're going back. We don't want to see these things, because that's going to make it really, really difficult to get that club to swing down nicely on plane and to hit this ball in the center of the club face here, which is going to allow you to transfer as much energy to the golf ball. So that's really the number one piece. That's one of the number one things to consistency. We talk about this in the Top Speed Golf system. This is the number one key to consistency in the golf swing, is your stable fluid spine. We want to be nice and angled away at address, angled away and centered between those lines, or a little bit to the trail side of those lines as we go up to the top. And then we actually want to get more angled away as we're coming into the golf ball here. So you can see right here, 6 to 8 degrees at address, about 6 to 8 degrees at the top. And then I'm coming into contact. I'm going to be somewhere in that 18 to 25 degree range with my spine angle. You can see as my body is opening up, as I'm getting to my lead side here, as I'm getting everything down into contact in a good position, I'm about in that 18 to 25 degree range with my spine. That's what we see in the best players in the world. What we see with folks who struggle with getting good contact, swinging on plane and things like that. We see at address, oftentimes they're very vertical, and then at the top of the swing, they end up like this, or maybe at the top of the swing, they're too far angled away. They swing really, really flat like this, and swing way too much from the inside, hit a lot of chunk shots and things like that. Or as they come into contact, they also come in very, very vertical, slide forward and things like that. So it's very, very important to get that in the center of the face. But let's say, hey, your spine angle looks good. You're kind of nailing all those pieces there. And if that's the case, it might be just your awareness of impact isn't very good. Your skill level as it pertains to hitting the ball in the center of the face may not be very good. So what I would highly recommend is doing some skill level training with hitting the ball in the center of the face. So the way to do that would be to get some foot powder spray and to spray that on your driver face. I recommend, I don't have any in here. I should probably get some because I mention it all the time, but it's what I use typically is Odor X, odor eaters with Sweat Max technology. It comes in a yellow can there. And I use that one because I think it just sprays really nice and white on the face. I've used other ones before, like the store brands, and stuff like that. They just don't seem to work very well. They might work good the first couple times, but then they just kind of crap out on me. But that yellow can one seems to work really, really well. And you just spray it on the club face. And what I would do initially is I would just hit some shots and just kind of see where you're hitting it in the face. Try to hit in the center and see where those strikes are happening. What you're likely going to find is you're going to find that there's going to be some sort of tendency where most of your shots are kind of, your dispersion's kind of more in the heel to the center or low and on the toe, or there's going to be a tendency where you see that. And what I'd recommend doing from there is to adjust your feel to get the desired result. So let's say that my tendency is to hit the ball in the heel of the club, right? So that's going to take away, that club is going to twist when that happens, and I'm just not going to be able to transfer as much energy to the golf ball when I do that. So what I'm going to do is, if I'm hitting the ball mostly in this area over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust my feel to hitting it on the toe. And what's likely going to happen when I do that is it's going to help me get that strike more in the center of the face. So all it is just adjusting my feel to get the desired result that I want. Now, if I adjust that feel and I actually hit it in the toe, that's great. That means I've made change. That's what we want, but I've just overdone it a little bit. So at that point, I just need to ease off of that feeling a little bit. And if it's still in the heel, then I need to exaggerate it even more. I may even need to feel like I'm coming in and missing the golf ball. If I have a tendency to be right here and I'm still coming in and I'm getting it in the heel, I may need to feel like I'm coming in and I'm missing the golf ball, right? And I know you can do this. You may feel like, I can't do this. But if I told you to get up to this golf ball and I told you, I want you to completely miss the golf ball from the inside, just completely miss it, do you think you could do it? I think absolutely you could do that. And vice versa too. If I had you set up like this, do you think you could swing out here and miss the golf ball? I absolutely think you could do that too. So you can do this. It's just a little bit of getting out of your comfort zone to make that happen. So adjust your feel to get the desired result that you want. Now, once you kind of get a sense and feeling for that, and you get some strikes in the center of the face, now what I want you to do is I want you to do what's called interleaving practice. This is where you're going to intentionally hit shots off of different parts of the face, and it's going to give you a better overall sense, feel, and awareness for where the center is. This is actually scientifically proven to help you improve a lot faster. So what you would do is I would just split this face into 3 sections, and I would try to hit the ball. I would start out, whichever section you want, it doesn't matter, but I would just start out with one of them. And let's say I'm going to start out with the heel strikes, and I'm going to try to hit the ball intentionally in the heel of the club. So again, I'm going to adjust. If that's kind of my normal go-to or my normal kind of tendency, I may not feel like I'm doing much anything different, and I may just feel like a little bit like I'm trying to go in the heel. And then I will count how many attempts it takes me to get it in the heel. So if it's 1 attempt, then it's 1, and then I go on to the next one. But if I fail, let's say I go for the heel and I hit it in the center, and what I would deem as successful is I would split it into 3 equal sections, and at least half of the strike, when you get the foot powder spray on there, you'll see the ball, the dimples on there. at least half of those dimples have to be in the, most of the dimples have to be in the heel section of the club for it to be successful. If I'm unsuccessful, let's say I get it too much in the center, then I'll try again. So it's called win, pass, lose, stay. So if you win, you go to the next task. If you lose, you got to stay and continue with that task. And just count how many it takes you. Right. So once you get that, then I would move. Let's say I started with the heel, then I would move to the center or the toe. And I would count how many strikes it took to be there. So I'd be counting overall how many strikes it took me or how many attempts it took me to get these 3 in the center of the face, or the 3 in the different parts of the face. Once I get all those, I'll tally them up, and then that's my score. I need to try to beat that score, and it makes it a kind of a fun game. So just to review what I've talked about today, if you're trying to gain distance, if you can do speed training, do speed training. Well, it's the best thing you can do to gain distance. All right. So that's going to be our 20-minute distance fix. Go to the top of the page, click the instruction tab, and get started on the 20-minute distance fix right now. Go out there and do the quick start in there. It's the best thing you can do. But if for some reason you can't do that, then what I would recommend doing is check your stable fluid spine. Make sure that you're nailing the pieces that I talked about. Nice and angled away address, nice and stable and angled away at the top, and then more angled away as you're coming into contact. If you need to work on that, then I recommend going to our top speed golf system, select the instruction tab, then select the top speed golf system, and get started on the stable fluid spine course. Select the stable fluid spine course, get started on level 1, work through all the levels, get the reps in, and get to where you are able to have a nice little fun. And you'll find that your contact will get much better when you do that. And then let's say your stable fluid spine is good, then I'll be doing some interleaving practice, focusing on getting this impact more in the center of the face. Find the center first, and then do some interleaving practice to give you a better overall sense and awareness. And I think you'll be really surprised at how good you can become at hitting it in different parts of the face. So one of the keys that I touched on there was a stable and fluid spine. If we want to be consistent, we have to have our spine in correct alignment. We have to be very stable as we go up to the top and as we come into impact. This is really the #1 key to consistency in the golf swing, and that's why it's the first piece of the Top Speed Golf system. So stick around. I'm going to play a preview of Clay, the founder of Top Speed Golf. He's the one that came up with the whole system. He's going to have his best drill for you to get that stable and fluid spine correct. If you want to see the whole video, just click the iCard that's going to pop up on the screen. If you don't see the iCard, no worries. Just go to the link in the description below and click the link there. Play well. I'll talk to you next time.
If you like to be athletic, just like a top college quarterback, you're going to be really athletic, strong as you're throwing the ball. You know, get a good weight shift to the right and then back to the left. What's actually very similar to what we have in a golf swing. As we're throwing a football, we're first going to load up on our right side, then we're going to shift to the left and let that ball launch. A very similar thing happens in the golf swing, and that's what I'm going to go over in this drill. I'm going to talk about how one key piece can help you to tie in your weight shift to the right, back to the left, and a good full finish. That way you can make very consistent contact with the ball. I'm going to give you a great drill to do this, and I'm going to go over a couple common mistakes at the end of the video that you could be doing that will also be helpful. Starting out just to the right of the stick, it's going to shift 2, maybe 3 inches at the most as I'm going to the top of the swing. So as I go to the top, there now I'm 2 or 3 inches behind the ball, or behind the center stick here, and that's ensured that I've gotten a little bit of weight transfer to my right. I don't want to go, 7 or 8, 10 inches. That's overdoing it. That's going to start sliding in the swing. But if I do this correctly, I should be able to feel a little weight on the inside of my right foot, and now I'm really loaded up and ready to transfer back over to the left. It's much easier to transfer to the left if we get a small transfer to the right first. That's going to make it rhythmic and fluid and able to repeat it over and over again. So let's go ahead and go from the top down now. As I go to the right, now I'm about 2-3 inches to the right as I go to the top of the swing. As I start to transfer back down to contact,